Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I want to explain to you how the movement, RIGS system, and the energy weapons work in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. In case you haven't heard, Activision flew me out to LA to COD XP and they let me play Infinite Warfare early, and by now you've probably seen the press conference, some news on Charlie Intel, and a dozen other YouTube videos explaining some of these things, but especially when it comes to RIGS, it was very confusing, so I wanted to give you the most important facts about Infinite Warfare multiplayer right here, right now. First of all, movement is very similar to Black Ops 3. You have thrust jumps and wall running that are nearly identical to Black Ops 3 when it comes to timing, speed, overall height, velocity. Exo boosting is not part of the game with the exception of one rig that can do it, which we'll talk about later, but more or less moving, running, boosting just like Black Ops 3. They also have the same slide mechanic and same mantling mechanic as Black Ops 3, so that will be very familiar as well. Unlike Black Ops 3, however, there is no water on any map. I did not see a single water map. I assume that we're going to have no swimming whatsoever. Infinity Ward did add a new grenade mechanic so that you can throw your grenades, both tactical and lethal, with your left hand while you hip fire with your right hand. So if you want to, you can hold down a grenade with your left hand and run in just guns a-blazing, hip fire, and chunk it. That's kind of a neat mechanic. It allows you to shoot and spray over cover and throw grenades on the go. Of note, your thrust meter in this game by default charges significantly slower than that of Black Ops 3, or realistically it's probably only about 25 or 30% slower. However, since I'm used to playing Black Ops 3 and I'm used to playing Afterburner and bouncing all over the place, I did find myself running out of thrust much more often than I would have liked to. You will probably find yourself in this same dilemma and you won't be able to help it too much because as of right now, only one rig can equip the Afterburner perk, which has a different name, and it also burns people alive as you jump over their heads. So there's only one rig or one type of specialist that allows you to get faster recharging thrust, so almost everybody's going to be moving at the same pace, and that's a good way to transition into my next topic, which will be the bulk of this video, and that's RIGS. RIGS are going to be one of the most confusing things about the game, but they're one of the biggest changes that come to it. It'll make more sense once you play it, but until then, just bear with me. They're roughly the same as specialists from Black Ops 3. Each one has a backstory, each one has something they're good at, each one has something they're tailored at, and each one has a unique look. I don't think they're quite as unique outline-wise as Black Ops 3, but you should be able to spot most of them. You've got the fire guy, you've got the guy with his weird space ghillie suit camouflage stuff, you've got a robot that does close quarters combat, you've got your assault rifle guy, and a lot of these you can see. A few of them are a little bit confusing, but unlike Black Ops 3, instead of having one ability or one weapon or one slot to fill, you have two slots to fill before you deploy, or two things to choose from. And each slot is actually a different category, like a totally different type of thing. So let's talk about slot number 1. Slot 1 is for weapons or abilities, and it's called your payload slot. This one is very similar to Black Ops 3 Specialist. You can choose their unique weapon or pick between two abilities that they have. Their unique weapons are, of course, the rig weapons, the crazy steel dragon plasma hose, the railgun sniper rifle, the incinerator pistol, all these sort of things that you've probably seen videos of, and some you might see here in my video. It's the really OP, over-the-top, crazy weapons, and they're fun. They basically should be OP or they wouldn't be fun. But if you don't want a weapon, you can also choose between two abilities. Now, the abilities are kind of all over the place. Some of them are very similar to perks that we had in previous games. If I'm not mistaken, one ability was literally Scavenger, and some of the other abilities are more like legitimate abilities that we would see in Black Ops 2, like Glitch and Stim, and I think we had one that was like a wave stun, and there was a very effective cloaking ability that you might see in a later gameplay. Lots of big variety here, just all over the place in abilities, but you can only either choose one weapon or one ability in that slot. However, we have a second slot, and in the second slot you cannot put any weapons or any abilities. You have to choose a trait. Each one of your rigs has a special character trait, or 3 of them, and you have to choose one of the 3. And it's kind of funny that even though you have 3 to choose from, it's almost like another set of subcategories. Typically, one trait is a type of perk, just a regular perk, kind of like you would see in a different Call of Duty game, like I mentioned Scavenger earlier, or Lightweight, or Blast Shield, or there's the trophy system on your body, or just some type of perk that is unique to that character, that only that character can have. Another trait that you can pick from will be a passive perk, kind of like Lightweight, or there's one I think you sprint faster after you kill somebody, or just some sort of, not quite a perk, but a passive. They kind of remind me of those many little 1-point perks we had in Call of Duty Ghosts. And finally, each one of the rigs has a unique movement ability. Now, the unique movement ability is considered a trait, so you have to equip this ability in order to be able to use it. You do not get it by default. It is not passive. And I don't remember all of them. I didn't get to use all of them, but each one of the 6 has something different. The ones I do remember is one roughly analogous to Afterburner from Black Ops 3. Your thrust meter recharges faster. However, when you jump over somebody's head, you just like spray these huge rockets out of your back so you can burn people alive when you jump over their heads. One of them was Exo Boost from Advanced Warfare. It was called Quick Move left and right. It was very similar to Exo Boost. I'd say it's like kind of like a half Exo Boost. It wasn't quite as crazy or as fast, but it had a similar mechanic going on. There was a Ground Pound or Ground Slam one that kind of reminds me from slamming the ground in Halo, except instead of killing everybody, it was roughly analogous to the Exo Slam from Advanced Warfare. You have to be very accurate with it. I tried to slam a lot of people. You can only kill them if you hit them like directly on the head, not the most useful thing. There was a movement ability. It was similar to Lightweight, except you had to charge it up, like you had to sprint, and the longer you sprint, the more momentum you built up, the faster you would go. And if I remember correctly, there was one more where you had enhanced sliding on the stealth character had enhanced sliding, so he could slide further. So you have, in retrospect, that's a lot to explain. You have 6 total things, and you can pick 2 of them, and it's divided in categories. So you start out, you pick a weapon or an ability, whichever one you need, and then you pick a character trait. So you've got 6 things, and it's pick 2, but they're broken down in different categories, so you can't mix and match and make them quite as OP. It does have a lot of busyness to it. There's a lot to learn. It's not nearly as simple as Black Ops 3. It honestly reminds me a little bit more of a MOBA. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of variation, but it's not quite that like each one is crazy. Each one kind of has a theme. The Stealth Specialist has a bunch of concealment, a bunch of cloaking and those type of informational awareness type perks and traits. Of course, the very aggressive ones have things that allow you to move faster or, shoot better akimbo or something like that. And the area of control ones have area of control weapons and, trophy systems built in, stuff to deflect. So each one kind of has a theme. And thankfully, unlike Black Ops 3, you can change these mid-game. If you don't like the rig that you're using, you can just swap out to a different rig mid-game. So you can have a couple of rigs set up as well as a couple of weapon classes to work with them. So that's a lot about rigs. Let's talk about energy weapons. Infinite Warfare has the best done energy weapons that I have used in a Call of Duty game. Now that's only compared to AW and Black Ops 3, but what I like about them is that they fire, flash, hit scan, and kick just like regular guns. The only real difference is that they're firing blue tracer rounds and they have different sound effects than the basic guns, but the feel of them, how they perform when it comes to killing people is the same. You shoot them, they kick, they shake, they hit scan, there's no awkward projectiles, there's none of that crap where they don't punch through walls, there's none of those weird fire rates or waiting for them to recharge or strange things like that. We just don't have to deal with that whatsoever. They function a lot like regular guns, which was very nice. A lot of them are kind of multifunction as well. They're the dual mode guns that you can swap back and forth and do different things with. Because they're energy weapons, you can do a lot of crazy stuff with it. I think that they're a lot less gimmicky feeling than either Advanced Warfare or Black Ops 3. Advanced Warfare's, most of them were not very good because you had to depend on them to recharge that battery, and you could only shoot a little bit before recharging. This isn't like that. They have regular batteries you can change in and out like magazines. Their Black Ops 3 energy weapons are really more of an afterthought for DLC, so those are kind of goofy anyway. But the real kicker with these is they all regenerate ammo directly into your magazine or into your ammo capacity stock. So if you have, let's say you have a gun that has 20 shots, whatever, I'm just making this up, and you fire 5 shots, you're down to 15. If you wait a little bit, you don't even have to reload. Those bullets will regenerate, like it'll recharge the battery directly into your magazine. It's very similar to the IMR from Advanced Warfare, except instead of going into your reserve ammo, it goes directly into your mag. Now, if your mag is full, the gun begins to charge and put extra shots into your reserve ammo. When you run out, it's not like the battery, like AW, you cool it off. You just take the battery pack out, throw it away, and slap the next battery pack right back into a fast reload like a regular gun. The mechanics aren't goofy. It's not awkward feeling. I actually happen to like the energy weapons. Most of the weapons that I preferred in this game were energy weapons, and they have fairly unique attachments. at least unique in how they look and how they're named. A lot of them are similar in performance to long barrel or high caliber or something like that. But they do have some interesting ones that do things with recharge rate and battery capacity and stuff. But overall, energy weapons are very good. RIGS are a whole lot to wrap your mind around. They can be a little bit confusing, but it's the biggest change to the game. And the movement is roughly similar to Black Ops 3. I would probably say if Black Ops 3 is 100% movement, this game is probably about 90%. Very, very similar, just a little bit slower. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, if you learned something useful, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.